I don't think that we should disenfranchise people from voting in any way. As far as the mood of the current body politic right now, I think there is an incredible grassroots movement that is not only for Bernie Sanders, but for the progressive movement at whole. It's more than just Bernie. It's about we the people standing up against the corporate takeover of our democracy. We are not an oligarchy. We are a democratic republic. And unless we have a solid democratic foundation in which to govern, then what are we as a country? We cannot be the greatest country in the world if we are allowing the corporations and the establishment politicians to take over this country.
Well, it's awful, obviously, mostly for coming from the other side with the one alternative at this point. But I think as a whole, the Democratic Party is likely to come together behind whichever candidate ultimately is the nominee, mostly because we like each other and we tend to get along better. The best thing we can do is to tell the truth and to hope that they see reason. That's all I can say.
I think the mood of the electorate is very polarized at this moment, which is unfortunate. And I think to be more inclusive, maybe the conversations need to start being had between people who disagree rather than only among people who agree.
Well, it seems like a lot of energy here and a lot of new people that have come out for the first time that have been inspired by Senator Sanders. And I think, the Democratic Party can look at what happened within the Republican Party 4 years ago in Ron Paul's campaign, which brought a lot of energy and grassroots energy to the Republican part of things, and they kind of pushed them away and instead of trying to be inclusive. So Democrats need to embrace all the new blood and tell them that they have a home, and that'll grow the party.
Well, on my road, got to get it together before it all falls apart. Got to get it together.
That'll grow the party.
Well, I think the Democratic Party needs to take a look at how far they've moved to the right, and they're leaving a lot of people in the lurch, and that's why we're seeing such upheaval in the country, not only on the left, but definitely on the right as well.
Well, I think unfortunately we're very fractured. And I think that what could be done to improve it is if the Democratic establishment would really just let the people speak without trying to control where the campaign goes. I think from the very beginning, the establishment has really pushed Hillary, and I think that has really soured the Bernie candidates against the establishment Democrats.
I think this election cycle is the most inclusive election cycle we've ever seen. I think more young people like me are getting involved in the politics we used to really dislike.
I think there's a lot of volatility in the electorate right now. I think there's a lot of anger and frustration. And I think what the Democratic Party to be more inclusive needs to elect Bernie Sanders. Period.
In general, the mood is, for the Democrats, they're really, really excited. But I think the problem is that the biggest party that we have in America isn't even a real party. It's the independents. So I think it's a strategic move to do things in the mindset of trying to get the 46% of our population that is not affiliated with the Democratic Party. So for the Democrats, they are super excited. They've got plenty of good options. But for people closer to my age, college age, they feel really, really disenfranchised with the whole thing.
I think they could better educate people on how the information they get is not correct, and to maybe do some homework before you jump on the political gossiping bandwagon.
The mood is very much energized, especially among young people, which I'm very happy to see. The thing to be more inclusive is, I think, going to be difficult, but it has to do with the rhetoric around the campaigns themselves put out. When somebody doesn't say something that is, exactly right, they tend to sensationalize little slips like that. And I think we need to be, I think we've done a great job being issues focused so far. I think we can go further in that direction, which would be more inclusive to get people to buy on to what we're trying to say.
I think that it's just going to be really important when we get to the national convention to try to include a lot of the issues from the Bernie side into the platform. I think at this point that's really the main thing that we can do.
I think the electorate is generally upset. Congress hasn't been functioning for the last somewhere between 8 and 20 years. And their stated goal was to have the Democratic administration, current administration, fail. And they're doing a pretty good job of it. I think speaking to people's needs is probably the best approach. And there's a broad section of people that, based on Trump's success and based on Bernie's success, both of which are outsiders from the political mainstream, speaking to people's concerns, that's probably, I suspect, the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just reaching out and kind of communicating through more resources of media would be more accessible. And it's hard because I personally don't participate in a lot of major media sources, so I'm on my own, seeking out my own resources, and there aren't a lot of filters. We don't teach that in schools. We don't teach students how to filter out those media resources. Google is sort of like a free-for-all according to who pays how much in order to get the best finds. Okay, so
no time for soul searching. It's taking a certain toll. Just ready up for another round. Pop-tart laws and trolls. The West is yearning and the East is burning for some sensibility. In this great experiment, we're all still learning how to feed the giving tree. We got to get it together, or it all falls apart. We got to get it together. It can't be too late to start. We got to get it together.
Okay, so
I mean, there's clearly a large portion of people that feel disenfranchised by the way that several primaries have gone down. And I don't know what the Democrats can do to be more inclusive because they're the Democrats, so I feel like they're gonna push for who they want. But I guess they could listen more to what people who are voting in primaries and wanting to vote in primaries are saying, because it doesn't feel like they have been.
Yeah, adjust their platform towards the views of young people.
Excellent. The Democrats are the most inclusive party. I think we're actually doing a fairly good job about that. I think we need to do more of what we're doing. I think we need to be actively inviting people from different backgrounds into the party, and I think that we're doing that. Unfortunately, we can't get them into the... Unfortunately, minorities are not in the more progressive part of the party, as we've seen in the past primaries. That's something that's a bit depressing. I think the Bernie campaign has tried this entire season to reach out into those communities. I think we've had some moderate success, so I think it's a matter of time before we can pull the minority voters into the more progressive parts of the party. But I think that's as far as the party itself, I think we're doing pretty well, but we need to get the minority voters into the more progressive parts of the party.
That's great. I would say it's grim. I think that people on the Democratic side are split into two camps, not along the candidates' lines so much as along the lines of they're split on the subject of how important they see preserving the last 8 years of progress to be. On the Republican side, it's hard to understand the mood because it seems to be some kind of admixture of chaos and anger and bitterness. And I think that if truth be told, that's not really a dramatic change so much as a difference of degrees compared to the last few election cycles. As for what Democrats can do to be more inclusive, the left wing in American politics has always been something of a circular firing squad, and I think that one of the unfortunate legacies of sort of the 2002 to 2010 period of American politics is that some parts of the left have started to emulate the ideological antagonistic mood of the Tea Party politics. So you see people now fighting for ideological purity above everything else and willing to castigate or punish any candidate they don't see as sufficiently ideologically pure.
I mean, I don't know how to answer that because I'm absolutely blown away by what's happening. And
How would you describe the mood?
Insane.
I guess in general, I'm surprised and I'm personally worried and alarmed by the level of anger just across the board, Republicans and Democrats. And I think for the Democratic Party to reach more broadly, I'm actually more concerned about making sure that we embrace both the Hillary supporters and the progressives who have rallied to Bernie. And in terms of reaching out to Republicans, I think a strong message of competence in the world, a strong vision of economic policy and international and global policy. And we need more aspiration. We just need to give everyone more hope.
There's a feeling that I have that the leadership of the Democratic Party is wanting to maintain the status quo because they're afraid of change, and therefore, just like the Republican Party and the media and the Koch brothers, what's happening is that the Democratic Party is trying a bit to stifle Bernie energy.
Seriously, they need to abolish the superdelegate system. That's the number one thing I would say, and I think we need to have 50 open primaries in all 50 states where independents can participate and they don't have to worry about registration deadlines being 6 months before the debates even start, stuff like that. I think, we needed more debates. We got them, but...
Well, I think first Democrats need to unite. Divide and conquer doesn't work well. Second, I think to be more inclusive, I think it's very important that we all listen to what a lot of people are telling us, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. The inequality, the hourly wage, the terrible inequality which still exists for young women and older women. There are a lot of issues that we share, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I just think the Democrats are more likely to fix them or try to fix them.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of anger out there. I think a lot of it is misplaced. Some of it is idealistic. I think that's on the left. The anger on the right, I find completely misplaced and doing nobody any good. To just lash out and be angry is not finding solutions to problems. Whatever the presumptive nominee of the Republicans is planning on achieving, he's not really giving us any information on how he's going to be doing it.
I think the national mood is, again, you've got the angry people, and I also think that the people that are angry don't really understand a lot of the fine points of things, because if they're voting for Trump and they're thinking he's going to go out there and make the laws in their favor, he's not going to be helping that McDonald's worker. He's not going to help that guy who's a janitor at the school. He's not out there for that. He may be touting that, but that's not what he's really about. If you look at his record, he's not about that. He's about big business. He's about politicians being able to buy elections.